Happy Friday, Infiniteers, and welcome back for my next episode of Toy Box Tutorials. For today's video, I have recreated a little Alice in Wonderland toy box. We've got the woods back over there, and the Mad Hatter's Tea Party over here. And over this way is the Queen's Castle with a hedge maze in front. And there's the Queen herself. And the roses that have been, they've been trying to paint red. But it's a simple little toy box, and this is something that you can build on for your own adventure. I haven't really done much except just to put together a short little toy box here for my demonstration. But speaking of which, today we're going to take a quick look at a Creativi-toy that was added in 2.0 that isn't used very much. And that is the Ready Up Checker. And you can find this toy in the Creativi-toys drawer once you have purchased it from the toy store. And I think the reason this toy isn't used much is because people don't know what it does or what to do with it. And I have not seen many videos that cover this toy, so I want to give you a brief tutorial on it. Now this is a very simple toy that serves a single purpose. And that is to make sure that all of the players are ready before the game proceeds. This is very useful when you're creating an adventure game and you want all the players to stay together and move together through the adventure, and you don't want to let any one player get too far ahead of everybody else. So let's take a quick look at this toy and I'll show you how to use it. If we open up the logic menu for it, you'll notice there are no properties. There are a few logic connections. And that is the two of them here. All players are ready and any player canceled. So when all players are ready to proceed, this trigger signal goes out. And if anybody cancels, that trigger signal goes out. So that's pretty straightforward. And there's some behaviors too, which I'll show you how to hook up in a moment. But to demonstrate how this toy works, I've got a simple example here. So I put an automatic door in the entryway for this hedge maze, and a trigger area in front of that. And I have a button over here, and a sound effect generator, and we'll set the properties on that so that 3D sound at speaker or locator is off. And I also have a time delayer that we're going to use in a few moments. But we're going to use the trigger area to do our ready up check. And so when somebody enters this trigger area, let's do a new logic connection. And I'll keep this simple for demonstration purposes, but I'll show you another way to do this in a moment. Excuse me. So when entered by player, we'll do player 1. If you come over to the Ready Up Checker and you open the logic for that, there's 5 behaviors. You have a wait slot for each of the players and a triggering player wait slot. So if we hook up player 1 entering the trigger area to the player 1 wait slot, you'll see there's 2 options here, and the option you're going to use the most is ready. And that is your player 1 is just waiting for everybody to be ready. If you come back over to the trigger area and do a new logic connection when entered by player 2, you can hook that up to player 2's wait slot and wait until they're ready. Okay? And what this toy is going to do is it's going to put the players in kind of a wait mode. They're not going to be able to do anything until all the players are ready. And when they are, on the Ready Up Checker, you can do a new logic connection. When all the players are ready, we can come over and open the door. All right? And we can use this button here to close the door again, so we can test this multiple times. Whoops, I wanted to... Oh yeah, that was what I wanted to do, was close it. Alright, so pretty simple. Let's bring in Donald Duck as player number 2 here. Alright, so now we have 2 players in the toy box. And so they can be doing exploring this little area, doing the quests and things. And when somebody comes up to the door, you can see now player 1 is in a waiting mode. And I can't do anything. I'm pushing my arrow key. I'm trying to do anything. The only thing it'll let me do is cancel. So we're waiting for player 2 to come up here. And as soon as they enter the door, so they enter that trigger area, now the door opens. All right? So it's a pretty straightforward toy. It's making sure that that door does not open until both players are ready to go through it. So let's go ahead and close the door, and I'll show you a couple other things you can do with this toy. We'll have Donald drop out for a moment. Alright, another thing you can do on this toy is a new logic connection. If any player cancels while they're waiting, they get tired of waiting and they cancel, you can do something. So we can come over here to demo that to the sound effect generator. And we'll go under musical funny failure. We'll play that sound. All right. Okay, so now Mickey's ready. Bring in Donald again. And we'll have Donald enter the trigger area first. So now he's in waiting mode. And Mickey decides to go off and play around and leave player 2 stuck in that position. If player 2 gets tired of waiting, they can cancel. You can see at the bottom of the screen for player 2, if I press B on my Wii U, it'll cancel. Are you sure? Yes. So that lets you know you're not going to be able to proceed because both players are not ready. So that's pretty straightforward. All right, we'll have Donald drop out one more time because it's really easier to use the editor when there's only one player. All right, so another way you can do that, I hooked up both players to this ready up checker. So if we come down here and we delete both of those signals, you can save yourself a little bit of time if you do a new logic connection when entered by player any. And you can come over to the ready up checker and go to the triggering player's wait slot. Select ready. All right. So that way you only have to make one logic connection instead of two. The other is easier to demo and explain the toy, but triggering player lets you save a little bit of work.
Wow, you're pushed back. Okay.
Okay, so Mickey enters, and then Donald enters, and the door opens. So you can see it works the same. It's a little easier to explain when I show player 1 and player 2 separately, but that works the same way. All right, we'll have Donald drop out one last time here, and there's one more thing I want to show you. Now let's say, for example, that you don't want the player to have to wait here too long, okay? And maybe it's a small kid who's playing the game and they don't realize that they can press B, and you're not home to tell them. So you want to have a kind of a time, have it wait for a short time and then automatically cancel. And you can do that. What we can do is, we've already got the players hooked up to this. What we'll do is, on the trigger area, a new logic connection when entered by player any. You can come over here to the time delayer and start the delay. If we go into the properties, I've already set this to 5 seconds. And on the time delayer, a new logic connection when the delay is completed. You can come over here to the triggering player wait slot and have it cancel on behalf of that player. So now a player is not going to wait there any longer than 5 seconds. And once again, we'll bring in Donald.
Come on, let's get going.
So you kind of have to have a second player to demo this, but all right, so we enter. And now if we wait 5 seconds, I'm not going to press B to cancel. You can see it automatically did it for me. And so that's why you would use that other signal. Most of the time you're going to use ready, though. That's the behavior you want to use on the wait slot. But that's why, or how any player canceled would work. One more little quick thing to show and then we'll be done, because again, this is a pretty simple toy. We'll make sure this is still closed. Okay, so if you only have one player and we go to enter the door, you can see it just bypasses the the ready up checker anyway. Now in this case, you see that still went off. So you probably want to have a logic gate and have the signal go from the time delayer through the logic gate to the cancel on the toy over here. It maybe be better just to show that than to try to explain it, since this is a tutorial. So we'll put a logic gate in here. And we'll delete the link to the ready up checker. And instead, we will do a new logic connection when the delay is completed. We'll input into the logic gate. And a new logic connection on output. Then come over here and do triggering player wait slot. Any player canceled. Okay? And what we can do is, on the automatic double door, when it is opened, we can come close the logic gate. And then the signal will not make it from the time delayer to the ready up checker. And we can have our reset button here. When pressed, reopen our logic gate. So having that little logic gate in there will just help out a little bit. Okay, so there's our door. Come over here. We go through the door. The time delayer goes off, but nothing happens because the logic gate was closed. And there you go. As I said, it's a very simple toy with a single purpose, but it can be very useful in your toy boxes. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and if so, please hit the like button and leave a comment to let me know. And if you like Disney Infinity and you appreciate my tutorials and toy box designs, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel by clicking my photo in the lower right corner of this video, and make sure your notifications are on so you'll know when I post new videos. Thank you for watching, and have a great weekend.